Happy Thursday, y'all. Y'all come on in. This was gonna be a long one. Actually, it's gonna be more than one part to this story. So y'all come on in, have a seat, get comfy. Thank y'all so much for supporting. I appreciate it. Please be sure to hit the like button. Feel free to support the channel if you don't mind. Thank you so much for being here, y'all. I'll get started in just a minute, okay? Thank you, Miss Gloria. Thank you, sweetie.
The Clippers are something to talk about for another day, I'm sure. But it's interesting. Golden State does not make
Trey,
changes
what
during
the
the
hell are you
regular
playing?
season. They just don't
Y'all,
make
this
changes.
fun.
Certainly they've been at a high level.
Trey! I'm sorry, y'all. Wait, I thought y'all listen. I'm all discombobulated. I apologize. I thought for a minute I was on my backup channel, but I'm not. I'm on. Y'all, let me know. I think I'm on my main channel, which I'm supposed to be on my main channel. I get discombobulated, y'all. Y'all know truth. Y'all know me. Ducking felonies. Thank you guys for talking about him. I can't believe they murdered that man. Makes me sick. Hey, ducking felonies. How are you? Welcome to the chat. So happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope everybody's having a blessed day so far, and we'll continue to have a blessed evening. Now, please, if the person that's in here, because I don't remember, because I actually wrote it down. I don't think I got this in the email. Thank you, E. Bruce Child. Happy birthday. This is my main channel now, so I will not play the birthday song, but I got you on the backup channel later, girl. Yes, girl. I'm trying to be good on my main channel, girl. I am trying to be good. But I am going to celebrate you. Happy birthday, Anaya. Um, so where was I at? Oh, welcome in everybody. Thanks for joining. I appreciate y'all for supporting these lives. Yeah, I know supporting these particular lives that I've decided to cover on my main channel means a lot to me, and it means a lot to me when you all support them. Okay. Um, I just had to come down. I had to come down, y'all, for those of y'all that went in the earlier live. I just have to come down. Woosah. Okay. Thank you, T. Yeah, y'all please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to hit the like button on these lives. I would like these lives to be in the algorithm. Kind of hard because they don't get the type of views that the fuckery gets, and I got a fuckery channel as well. So yeah, but they don't get those type of views. So hitting the like button really helps out a lot. And please also feel free, or please, if you can, support the channel. Okay. Now if the person that asked me to cover this particular story is in the live, let me know. Because I don't think I wrote down who asked me. I just got it, I had it written down, and I was trying to go in order as to the requests that I received as far as these stories. I looked for an email, didn't get email. That's why I asked y'all to please, please, please. When y'all want me to cover something, I know it's easier to just put it in the chat. And was it you, yours truly? Put it in the chat. I know it's easier to put it in the chat, and that's fine. And I'll normally write it down, but what I didn't do on this particular one is write down who asked me to cover it. Thank you, Miss Brenda. I didn't write down who asked me to cover, and I like to give shout outs to the people that asked me to cover certain stories. So yours truly, are you the one that asked me to cover this story or no? But anyway, if the person is in this chat that asked me to cover this one, please let me know. So we're here, and I am covering it, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Pretty sad story. All right, yours truly. So shout out to yours truly. This is the one you asked me to cover. Okay. Um. So today we're gonna be talking about, and y'all, it's a lot. It's a whole lot of. Like I say, I think I'm gonna cover this one today and tomorrow. I've actually got actual court documents since this case is kind of old. Not really, really old, but what happened, Truth? Everybody telling you to calm down. Girl, T, girl. Girl, I went from a 10 to 100 in Money Boy Trade Live, child. It happens sometimes. Even though I try not to, it just happens. I get emotional. You know I do. I get so emotional, babe. Oh, I'm fine. I'm good. I got some shit off my chest and I am good. Holly Jackson said, "Here, channel is down." What are you saying, sweetie? Hey, Holly, welcome to the chat. Don't know who you are though. What do you mean? Y'all know I get emotional. I get so emotional, baby. Oh yeah, I do. And I try not to, but it happens sometimes, and I just can't help it. I know, T. I'm good though. I'm good. Just check out Money Boys Trades Relive, honey. I mean, not relive, replay, and you'll understand. 2005, right? Coke Pepsi, right? It's pretty dated, but I didn't know anything about it. And of course, you know, yeah, it's a lot. I got a lot of stuff as far as court documents. I got court documents, there's videos. It's a pretty sad story. And let me say this before I get started on any commentary as far as this story. I have right to UP channel. What about UP channel? Holly. I need y'all to sort of kind of write complete sentences because I get lost. I get lost. Um, um, listen. So today's been a hard day for you, Miss Gloria. I'm sorry, boo. I hope it gets better. I was there. Truth is okay. I can't blame you for being upset, honey. Thank you, Cold Pepsi. No, don't block them. I'm just trying. I mean, they're not saying it. I'm just trying to figure out what they're talking about. So I mean, I just be on alert, E. Bruce. Just be on alert, honey. You already know. But um, this story, and I'm gonna say this before I get into any commentary because I'm going to do today, and I know tomorrow. Don't know if it's gonna take another day. I don't know because, like I said, it's a whole lot of. But I want to say this: I have empathy and sympathy for every person involved in this story, as far as the person that we're speaking about, Kevin Johnson, his daughter, okay, his grandbaby, and the officer that was killed. I have empathy and sympathy in the situation. To be honest, I got a lot of stuff. I'm going to be learning some more stuff with y'all because even though I pull up a lot of stuff to get into, I don't read it all before I go live. I'm gonna be honest. I got a lot going on, y'all. I really, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna give y'all a little tidbit fact about truth. Around this time of the year, I tend to overwhelm myself. I put myself out there. I try to do a whole lot in order to keep my brain, keep my brain working and not so much my heart because I have a lot of emotions. So I try to keep myself busy. But Mars, if anybody come in here saying anything off the wall name, looks like they may be with the shit, I need them blocked. Y'all know how important these news lives are to me. I don't entertain bullshit. Not gonna entertain bullshit. And I'm not gonna have it go down in my life, okay? Truth, I sent you an email that has secret answers. Okay, Miss Linda, thank you, baby. So y'all just be on alert. Please be on alert. So I tend to sort of kind of overdo it. Okay. And hold on, y'all. Thank you, sis. I just got some encouraging words from my sis. Y'all know how much I love Flexi. I love Flexi more than I love a pork chop. Y'all know I love a pork chop. Okay. Several if I can, but I just can't eat them like that no more. Pork chop, pig feet, pig ears, all of that. And I love them. And I love them. But I love my sis more. I'm being funny now, y'all. I'm trying to laugh, but I love Flexi. Thank you, sis. Flexi is watching. Y'all say hey to Flexi. All right, Miss Linda. You emailed me. I'm gonna read your email, ma'am, and hopefully you left a number or something where I can call you where we could talk behind the scenes because I don't want to say a whole lot on this live. I'm gonna just be honest, okay? I don't because I'm so serious about trying to do something about what's going on that I refuse to talk about it on YouTube. That's just how serious I am about it. All right, come correct. Send me a couple, girl, with some hot sauce. Ah, you know. Yeah, Flexi's watching y'all. So y'all shout out Flexi for me. I love her. Um, but as far as this case is concerned, I have empathy and sympathy for everybody involved. I really, really do. And we're gonna get into it. Um, like I say, once again, shout out to yours truly for bringing this one to my attention. And I think what I'm gonna do, because I have a couple of videos that we're gonna listen to the audio, of course, until I can get my shit together. I got a phone call this morning telling me what I need to do about my Wi-Fi, and I'm gonna try it. So by this weekend, hopefully, I'll be straight as far as playing videos. Okay, Miss Linda, well, please give me to after this live, and I promise I'll respond. Okay, I'll respond. Okay. Um, but let me see. Let me read. Let me kind of catch y'all up on what happened. Okay. In this situation, in this case, okay. A police officer was killed in this situation. So prayers are continuously up for, his family and things of that nature. Um, I absolutely love and adore and respect good police officers, honest and true police officers, because you are a troll. Miss Linda, what are you talking about, Miss Linda? I'm a troll? Who's a troll? Who Miss Linda talking to? Who Miss Linda calling the troll? Okay, all right, I can't. All right, so um, yeah, I do respect honest and true good police officers. My nephew, as you all know, Flexi's oldest son is a police officer. I have classmates that I graduated with. Hey James, that are police officers. I actually came in contact some really really good police officers um when my son was killed or whatever. So I respect police officers. I do. It's just like with any occupation, any person on this earth, we have good and we have bad. I know police officers get a bad rap because there have been some bad ones out there, but as far as police officers in a whole, as a whole, that's honest and true and take their job seriously and don't abuse the job, I have a lot of respect for. Okay, I will be talking to his mom in 30 minutes. True, if he don't think he's a troll, then he's not. I don't know who supposed to be a troll. I don't know who you talking about, Milano. But Mars are on alert for trolls. Okay. So with that being said, let me see if I can find a particular article that talks about what initially happened with this guy. Okay, because it's a lot of levels to this. It's a lot. You got to remember this case is very, very old. Sadly to say, Mr. Kevin Johnson has been executed. And so yeah, we're gonna try to work our way up to that, okay? And to get a breakdown of the story, I think what I'm gonna do, let me see if I can find, because I saved some videos, y'all. I don't know if I want to do a video or do an article, but I think what I might do is read actual court documents, okay? Let's see. I say shout out to everybody that's supporting this live. I appreciate it. Hold on, y'all. Let me get Tony phone. It's ringing with his. Oh. I need more than that. Okay, I'm back, y'all. I'm back. Girl, Funky 40. What you know about that yours truly? Funky 40, girl. All right, so I'm gonna read an actual court document that I have that this is from a decision that was made back in 2009. See, this case is old. It's kind of old, but I think the execution may have happened like recently. I don't want to misquote that because, like I said, I'm learning a lot of stuff about this case along with y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna read um an actual court document that was actually filed with the Court of Appeals back in 2009. It was filed in May 2009. All right, so it happened last month. Yours truly. Okay, yeah. I figured that the actual execution must have happened like recently because the story was in the news again. So I'm gonna read this document, y'all, and it's pretty much basically gonna give you a rundown, a full synopsis of the case and what happened with this guy and this police officer. Mr. Kevin Johnson is the guy, the guy that's no longer here, and also the police officer. He's no longer here as well. His name is William McEntee. He's the cop. Okay. Yeah, let me thank you, T. You can continue dropping it. I'm gonna put my banner up for when I play those videos. Okay. Thank you, thank you. All right, so let me get into it. All right. A jury found Kevin Johnson guilty of one count of first degree murder pursuant to section 56.020 for killing Sergeant William McEntee and recommended the death penalty. The trial court adopted and you gotta remember now I'm reading from a court document, so it's a lot of, like court like terms in this document, okay? The trial court adopted the jury's recommendation and sentenced Kevin. Now in this particular court paperwork, it says appealant. And the reason why they call him appealant because he appealed the decision, okay? But I'm gonna just say Kevin. Sentence Kevin to death. This court has exclusive jurisdiction, the Missouri court, okay? Kevin had an outstanding warrant, and this is where it gets into what happened, okay? Kevin had an outstanding warrant for a probation violation resulting from a misdemeanor assault. Around 5:20 in the evening of July 5th, 2005. Now this happened back in 2005, y'all, okay? Whew. Y'all, let's get y'all ready for a long ride. It's gonna be a long ride. But it's very, very interesting though, okay? It's not like boring or nothing like that. So, all right, so around 5:20 in the evening of July 5th, 2005, Kirkwood police with the knowledge of the warrant began to investigate a vehicle believed to be Kevin's at his residence in the Meacham Park neighborhood. The investigation was interrupted at 5:30 when Kevin's younger brother had a seizure in the house next door to Kevin's residence. The family sought help from the police, who provided assistance until an ambulance and additional police, including Sergeant McEntee, arrived. Kevin's brother was taken to the hospital, where he passed away from a pre existing heart condition. Now, I'm going to read that part again, okay? Around 5:20 in the evening of July 5th, 2005, Kirkwood police with knowledge of the warrant began to investigate. Now, mind you, they was investigating him on an outstanding warrant, right? Began to investigate a vehicle believed to be Kevin's at his residence in the Meacham Park neighborhood. The was interrupted at 5:30 when Kevin's younger brother had a seizure in the house next door to Kevin's residence. The family sought help from the police, who provided assistance until an ambulance and additional police, including Sergeant McAtee, arrived. Kevin's brother was taken to the hospital where he passed away. Hey, D True, thank you. Have a good night at work. Thank you for stopping in. The family sought help from the police, who provided assistance until ambulance and additional police, including Sergeant McAtee, arrived. Kevin's brother was taken to the hospital where he passed away from a pre-existing heart condition. Kevin was next door during this time, and the paperwork says appealing because this is an appeal that was filed. Okay, all right. So after the police left, Kevin retrieved his black 9mm handgun from his vehicle. When talking with friends that evening, Kevin explained his brother's death as, "That's fucked up, man. They wasn't trying to help him. That he was too busy looking for me." Now, Kevin apparently feels like instead of helping his brother, the police was just trying to, get him and not help his brother. Around 7:30, 2 hours after Kevin's brother had the seizure, Sergeant McEntee responded to a report of fireworks in the neighborhood and Kevin was nearby. As Sergeant McEntee spoke with three juveniles, Kevin approached Sergeant McEntee's patrol car and squatted down to see into the passenger window. Kevin said, "You killed my brother," before firing his black handgun approximately 5 times. Sergeant McEntee was shot in the head and upper torso, and one of the juveniles was hit in the leg. Kevin reached into the patrol car and took Sergeant McEntee's silver 14 caliber handgun. Now, I do need to say this. When this incident happened, Kevin was 19. Okay? He was 19. Kevin proceeded to walk down his street with the black and silver handguns. Kevin told his mother, "That motherfucker let my brother die. He needs to see what it feels like to die." His mother replied, "That's not true." Kevin left his mother and continued to walk away. So apparently, after he shot the cop, y'all, he took the cop's gun and he proceeded to walk away. His mother told him the cop didn't deserve to die. He kept walking. Okay. Meanwhile, Sergeant McEntee's patrol car rolled down the street, hit a parked car, and then hit a tree before coming to rest. Sergeant McEntee, alive but bleeding and unable to talk, got out of the patrol car and sat on his knees. Kevin reappeared and shot Sergeant McEntee approximately 2 times in the head, and Sergeant McEntee collapsed onto the ground. Kevin also went through the police officer's pockets. So after he shot him while he was in the car, the police officer got out. Kevin reapproached him, shot him 2 more times in the head, okay, and then he went through his pockets. All right. Okay. So Sergeant McEntee was shot a total of 7 times in the head and upper torso. 6 of the wounds were serious but did not render him unconscious or immediately incapacitated. One wound was a lethal injury that caused McEntee's death. All 7 wounds were from a 9mm handgun. Kevin then left the scene cursing and drove to his father's house. He spent 3 days at a family member's apartment before arrangements were made for him to surrender to a family member who was a police officer. Now, he has a police officer in his family. He got away. He spent 3 days at a family member's apartment. Then there were arrangements with a family member who was also a police officer, I guess, to turn himself in. Okay. Kevin was indicted on one count of first degree murder, one count of first degree robbery, one count of first degree assault, and 3 counts of armed criminal action. The murder count was served from other counts. Kevin's first trial ended with a hung jury in the guilty phase. In this trial, the jury deliberated for 4 hours before finding Kevin guilty of first degree murder. In the penalty phase, the jury spent 4 hours deliberating and found the following aggravating factors present. The defendant, by his act of murdering Sergeant William McEntee, knowingly created a great risk of death to more than one person by means of a weapon that would normally be hazardous to the lives of more than one person. Number two, the murder of Sergeant William McEntee did involve depravity of mind. As a result thereof, the murder was outrageously and warrantably vile, horrible, and inhumane. Number three, the murder of Sergeant William McEntee was committed against a peace officer while engaged in the performance of his official duty. On direct appeal, the court reviews a death penalty conviction for prejudice, not mere error, and will reverse the trial's court decision only when the error was so prejudicial that the defendant was deprived of a fair trial. Prejudice exists when there is a reasonable probability that the trial court's error affected the outcome of the trial. Non-preserved issues are reviewed for plain error, where the error resulted in manifest injustice or miscarriage of justice. I'm sorry. Evidence is reviewed in the light most favorable to the verdict and is reviewed for abuse of discretion. Okay. Hold on. Let me see something here. Hold on. All right. Hey Jay. Hey Jay. Okay. So point one. In the first point, Kevin argues that the trial court erred in overruling the motion for a new trial because juror Broom failed to disclose um, at the trial that she knew a state's witness, the target, detective. Ooh, I cannot say this name. I'm gonna say Detective S. Okay. Kevin learned after the trial that Broom knew Detective S and raised the issue in motion for a new trial. The record shows that during the vote, the state read the last of police witnesses, including Detective S, and asked, "Are any of those names familiar to anybody as a county officer?" Anybody, let me start back with the jury box. Anybody know friends with county? Anybody know friends with county police officers, or I won't even limit to county, close friend. So basically, what was asked of the jury was, did you know any police officers? Basically, um, Juror Broom disclosed that her stepbrother is a police officer. She did not disclose she knew Detective S. At the post-trial hearing, Broom stated that she knew Detective S from working with his wife. She said she did not respond during the trial because, I hope y'all following me. This is the first point that Kevin's attorneys are making for an appeal. And the first point is that one of the jury members knew one of the detectives that worked on the case. All of the jury members were asked, did they know any police officers? This one particular jury member, Broome, Broome, said that she had a stepbrother that was a police officer, but she did not disclose that she knew one of the actual detectives that worked on the case. She said she knew that detective because she worked with his wife. She said the reason why she didn't say it at the trial is because it didn't register to me because he listed off a bunch of people, and I really didn't put two and two together because I hadn't seen him in over at least 2.5 years. And when I seen him on the stand, I didn't, I'm like, oh, so she's saying basically when she saw him on the stand, that's when she didn't recognize the dude. I didn't know what I could do. I had no idea if I have should have said something I didn't know, which kind of behooves me because if you were asked in the beginning, did you know any police officers and this and the third? Now you disclosed that your stepbrother was a police officer. And maybe you didn't realize, in the beginning that you knew this other guy, which was a detective. But once you realized it, whether court was in process or not, you basically was supposed to, inform the judge some type of way. Broom further testified at the hearing that she told her husband, I had seen Detective S there, and he was one of the ones who had brought evidence in that seemed to be the same evidence as the first time we had seen the previous pictures or trial. The trial court overruled the motion and found Broom's conduct was not non-disclosure or at worst was unintentional non-disclosure. The trial so find out that she knew Detective S. They overruled the motion for her to be thrown off the jury. And apparently, this is why. And this is their findings. Thank y'all so much for being here. Y'all please be sure to hit the like button if you don't mind, and feel free to support the channel. So I'm gonna start right here for a minute before we get into the points they made for overruling her being thrown her ass off the jury. Any questions? Anybody lost? Anybody want to ask me any questions? Because this case right here is so much that I'm really not putting anything up on the screen like that. I will do this though. I will give y'all hold on a minute. And I actually didn't upload those pictures. I'm so upset with myself. But let me put this up where y'all can see the pictures, okay? All right, starting from right to left, that's Kevin, and then that's the police officer, Mr. William McAtee, and over here far left is Kevin, his daughter, and his daughter's gonna play a major part in his commentary, and her newborn baby. Okay. All right. So let me see if y'all got any questions so far. I don't think so. Y'all following me so far? I don't see anything. All right. Yeah, excuse me for yawning. I promise y'all I'm not sleepy or bored. I don't know why I'm yawning. But anyway. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all a second to see if anybody put anything in here, then we're gonna move on. All right, Tamara, no problem, baby. Thanks for being in the bushes. Thanks for being in the bushes. Y'all give me a second. You're listening? Okay, yours truly. Thank you, baby. Like I say, if y'all yes. All right, y'all. I'm gonna take a little break. I'm gonna see what my Tony wants. I'm gonna play that intro again, and I'll be right back. Thank y'all. And then my daddy calling on his phone. Hold on, y'all. I'll be right back. Hey, daddy.
Hey.
All right, y'all. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. Okay, so where we're at right now is I'm gonna read the points to the points the reason why they say they didn't get rid of Miss Broom here, who apparently knew one of the officers in the case and she was on the jury. Okay. Broom was asked after the list of witnesses was read, are any of those names familiar? Because what they did was they read when they was questioning the jury, they read a list of the people involved in the case, such as the police officers, the witnesses, and da 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 da. And the list was read, and the jury was supposed to let the judge know if they knew any of those people, right? Broom was asked after the list of witnesses was read, are any of those names familiar to anyone as a county police officer? The jury did not respond to that. The credible evidence before this court is that the jury did not know Detective S as a county police officer, although she had been aware that he was a police officer. Her relationship with the officer was familiar to her. Wait a minute. Her relationship with the police officer was only because of his wife. She never socialized with the officer and his wife, but only knew him as one who occasionally appeared at work. I guess at the wife's job where they worked. The court finds that the juror's denial that the mention of his name in the midst of a list of 12 officers did not register with her as someone she knew was credible. She had not seen or had contact with him for a few years. The remainder of the question by the prosecutor to which there was a response sought was if anybody, let me start back with the jury box, anybody know friends with county police officers, or I won't even limit it to county. Close friends with police officers, law enforcement officers. There is no credible evidence before this court that the juror was close friends with any officers, including the county detective, other than friendships, other than the friendships the juror disclosed during questioning. Clearly, even if the court were to find that the juror's conduct could be interpreted as non-closure, which is it does not, there is no credible evidence that the non-disclosure would be intentional. At the very worst, it would be unintentional. Also, there is no credible evidence before the court that the defendant was prejudiced by non-disclosure that would have resulted. Now, basically, right there, y'all, is what they're saying is even though this woman knew this detective, and they want to say that she knew him, but she really didn't know him because he was the husband of one of her friends that she worked with. Da 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 da. She had not seen him in 2.5 years. Because of that, her saying that she didn't know him and his name was clearly read off the list. Her saying that she, had a brain fart and didn't recognize it at the time. They saying that was okay. She didn't intentional say that she didn't know the guy. She just forgot she knew the guy. Okay. Juror non-disclosure during questioning requires a two-pronged analysis. First, non-disclosure occurs when the juror reasonably can comprehend the information solicited by the question interview. Second, it must be determined whether the non-disclosure is intentional or unintentional. Basically, yours truly, that's what I feel. I feel like she lied. And this is my opinion. I feel like she lied. Okay. Um, Second, it must be determined whether the non-disclosure is intentional or unintentional. Intentional non-disclosures occurs when the juror actually remembers the experience or sentences that its reported forgetfulness is unreasonable. When material information is intentionally withheld, Bias and prejudice are presumed. Unintentional non-disclosure involves an insignificant or remote experience, misunderstanding the question, or disconnected information. For unintentional non-disclosure, a new trial is warranted when the verdict is prejudicially influenced. The trial court has discretion to grant a new trial. So basically, if they had found that she intentionally said that she didn't know Guy, they would have ordered a new trial. But since they said that it was unintentional, they didn't. Basically, Broom was not instructed at any time what to do in the unlikely event that she recognized the witness during the trial. While Broom should have brought this to the trial court's attention, her silence is not unreasonable. Now, how could you say that? Because, granted, I give it to her that maybe she didn't recognize the name in the beginning. Hey, Jamila, maybe she really didn't recognize it. But once she saw Guy, dude, on the stand, and she recognized him, she intentionally didn't say anything. Whether it was the beginning of the trial, the middle of the trial, the end of the trial, regardless, when she saw Guy and recognized Guy and who he was, why didn't she say anything? Because you was asked at the beginning, did you know any of the witnesses? And clearly he was a witness, right? Oh, let me drop the link. I don't know if anybody's gonna come up or not. I want to drop it just in case, okay? Um, yeah. So once she recognized Guy, in my opinion, she should have said something. That was intentional. Yes, Miss Lady Sunflower. There was a hung jury at the end of the first trial and the second one. The lady just forgets she knows one of the detectives. Sure, okay. Right, ducking felonies. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Um, it goes on to say the trial court's written findings made after observing the trial and hearing the evidence are supported by evidence in the record. The trial court did not abuse its discretion in overruling the motion. The point is denied. So that first point is denied. And this is point number one that the lawyers put in for the appeal, y'all. So that one was denied. Okay. Which I'm being totally honest. I'm not being biased or anything. Because, like I say, I have sympathy for all parties involved. But that right there to me, my opinion, bullshit. Right, yours truly. Right. Um, Shout out to Jamila. Thank you, Jamila, for supporting. I appreciate you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Thank you, boo. All right, y'all. All right. Y'all, please hit that like button. And please feel free to support the channel, y'all. This is like shout out to comedian Michael Allen. This is a business, okay? So let me see. Let me see
It's
what
the season of giving.
All right. Money boy, are you listening? Are you able to listen? Cause I want you to weigh in on this too, cause this is a lot.
I am.
Okay, I lost my place, y'all. Okay, I found it. This a lot, y'all. I'm reading from a court document, so it's a little strenuous. Okay. How yours truly said how she not know him with oh I got that one. I read that one. Okay. So point number two. This is point number two in the appeal statement. They're trying to appeal his guilty verdict. This is point number one was denied. So this is point number two, okay? Um in the second point, Kevin argues the trial court erred in in overruling a Batson challenge for another juror, Cotman, Cottman. The state used a what is this? Premonitory challenge to strike Cotman, and Kevin made a Batson challenge. What is a Batson challenge? Let me look it up. I want to understand what we. What's a Batson challenge? Let me see. All right, let's see. Batson challenge. The Batson challenge refers to the act of objecting the validity of a peremptory challenge on grounds that the other party used it to exclude a potential juror based on race. Oh, I'm gonna read it again. The Batson challenge referred to the act of objecting the validity of a peremptory challenge on grounds that the other party used it to exclude a potential juror based on race, ethnicity, or sex. Ethnicity, or y'all know the word. I'm trying to say it. It's hard. Or sex. Okay, so that's the Batson challenge. Okay, shout out to my baby girl who just repaid a loan that I didn't think she was gonna repay. Well, actually, it wasn't a loan. She asked me for it. I gave it to her. She paid it back. Ain't God good? She'll be asking for it back, y'all.
It's the season
Believe
of
that.
giving. Reach into your pocket and hit that
Child,
cash app.
baby, she repaid that, and then believe me, in 2 days, and guess what she asked for it for? I'm trying to order something on Amazon, and yeah, can you? Yeah, I said, girl, if you don't stop ordering off Amazon, she's an Amazon junkie, y'all. I get paid, and she don't have to pay. I'm side note, y'all. She don't have the packages delivered to her apartment because she stays in an apartment, and she thinks everybody around her steals. Even though she got a whole ring camera and things of that nature, but she don't ever get her stuff at her apartment. She gets her stuff comes to my house, huh? So how you asking me for money and you ordering shit off Amazon? Like, make this shit make sense. But I learned how to stop asking questions. Okay. You love Amazon too, Jamil. You too, yours should. Y'all a mess. But yeah, she has all her stuff delivered to me, no matter how much she be done begged me or swindled money out of me. She don't have no shame. She don't have no damn shame. Packages come here every other day between her and my oldest daughter. It's ridiculous. Anywho. And then it's the holidays too. Shh, child. Okay, so now we know what the Batson challenge is, okay? All right, so not three. Look at me, Glory, talking about me too. I know y'all some Amazon. I know y'all some Amazon junkies. I know it. Um, so let's go back since we know what the Batson challenge is now. Girl, they pull up. But you know what, Miss Lady Sunflower? What I know is about Amazon and delivering of packages these days, that I know back in the day when my kids were growing up, I used to order a lot of stuff. FedEx, UPS, Postal Service, none of them, they don't knock on the door anymore. They don't make you sign for shit anymore. They just set you sit out. They just set your shit outside. Like they like my gate in front of my house is it be open. So in the daytime, so they just come. They don't knock on your door. They don't ring your bell. And that's why people just come and swipe your shit. And then I remember one delivery she got sent here. The driver, and I think it was FedEx. I think it was FedEx. They actually took her package across the street to another house. Like, I don't even understand that mistake, but they did. Now, Lady Sunflower, I have never seen. Well, I don't know about the taking of a picture, but I'm gonna tell you who did take a picture of some shit and send it to me. DoorDash. DoorDash, now see, it's an option for anybody that orders DoorDash and have that Dash Pass or whatever, like I got. They ask you, do you want your stuff set outside or do you want it hand delivered? I say hand delivered because I don't want my food on the motherfucking ground. So I got that check. Like, I want you to give me my food. Child, one night, child, motherfucker had nerve to set my food on the ground, take a picture and send it to my phone. I politely called that driver back and said, you can come get this. I don't want it. I don't want that. You done set my food on the ground outside my door. And even though I sweep around my front door, I don't want my food outside on the floor. How you gonna take a picture and send me a picture of my food talking about it's outside? That's not what I opted out of. I didn't ask for that. Anyway, yeah, that's my rant for today. Come back and get this shit because I don't even want it. And I had DoorDash to refund me my money. Called my hubby today. I was out called him to go out and get it off the porch. Never had a problem. My car was repossessed like 6 months ago, so I order DoorDash all the time now. Yep, they always set it outside. They're gonna knock on my door. They're gonna knock on my door. I don't give a damn. I don't want my shit set outside on the ground. I'm sorry. But anyway, now that we know what the Batson challenge is, let's read this again. Yeah, ebooks. When it's hot, it's ants outside. It's ants out there. Shit. In the second point, Kevin argues the trial court erred in overruling a Batson challenge for juror Cotman. The state used a, I'm gonna try to say this word, peremptory challenge to strike Cotman, and Kevin made a Batson challenge. In response to the Batson challenge, the state's race neutral reasons were Cotman's unwillingness to answer death penalty questions and her role as a foster parent with Annie Malone Children's Home, which provided services to Kevin as a youth. Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute, y'all. So apparently, Cotman was a potential juror, right? And Kevin's side tried to, I guess, not use that juror. So listen to this. I'm gonna read this again. In response to the Batson challenge, the state's race neutral reasons were Cotman's unwillingness to answer death penalty questions, which means when the juror was questioned about the death penalty, she refused to answer the question, and her role as a foster parent with Annie Malone Children's Home, which provided services to Kevin as a youth. So this woman sort of kind of knew Kevin. She provided some type of services at the foster home that he was apparently in. Kevin' only response was that another juror was a foster parent. The trial court allowed the strike. Kevin preserved this point by objecting at trial and raising the issue in the motion for a new trial. Wow. A I cannot say this P word. I'm just say a strike. A strike may not be blessed on an improper purpose, such as race or gender, and is objected by a Batson challenge. A Batson challenge has three components. The defendant must object that the state's challenge is based on an improper person. The state has the burden to prove a race neutral reason for the strike. The defendant has the burden to prove the reason is pretextual. Okay. To determine if the pretext exists, this court considers a non-exclusive list of factors, including the explanation in light of the circumstances, similarities, situated jurors not struck, the relevance between y'all. This a lot of court talk. I know a lot of it don't make sense. The relevance between the explanation and the case, the demeanor of the state and excluded veneer members, the court's prior experiences with the prosecutor's office, and objective measures relating to motive. The trial court's ruling is reversed only for clear error. Failing to raise a Batson challenge with the trial court does not preserve the argument for appeal. However, when the non-preserved claim involves a constitutional issue, it is reviewed for plain error. During questioning, Kevin argued that the state's explanation for striking Cotman was okay. So basically, the state struck the juror Cotman. Okay, and Kevin is bringing up in appeal that they struck the person for no reason. All right. During questioning, Kevin argued the state's explanation for striking Cotman was pretextual because another member of the jury was also a foster parent but not struck. A review of the record shows no other jury member was involved with the Annie Malone jury's home. The Annie Malone children's home, which was significant because it previously provided services to Kevin. The trial court did not find error, finding the explanation was not pretextual. Because the trial court found one race neutral reason to strike Cotman, it is unnecessary to review Kevin's argument that Cotman's unwillingness to answer death qualification questions was pretextual. Kevin also argued that the prosecutor's demeanor and that the trial court's previous experience with the prosecutor's office warrants pretextual behavior. As noted above, the prosecutor's decision to strike Cotman was not pretextual. There is no evidence that the state engaged in improper behavior to constitute a Batson violation regarding Cotman. A previous Batson violation by the same prosecutor's office does not constitute evidence of a Batson violation in this case, absent allegations relating to the specific case. The trial court did not err. The point is denied. Point number two, denied. Okay? That was a lot. That was a lot. Point number two, denied. All right? Y'all got to remember this is the appeals process. He's appealing his guilty verdict. Okay? Y'all please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Feel free to support the channel. All right. Now we're on the third point, y'all. And the third point, Kevin argues the trial court erred in overruling the motion for judgment of acquittal. The trial court erred in submitting the first degree murder jury instruction because the definition of deliberation, cool reflection for any amount of time, no matter how brief, reduces the distinction between first and second degree murder. I don't understand how he says that though, but okay. The trial court committed plain error in allowing the state to argue that Kevin's conscious decision to shoot was deliberation. Prosecutor McCullough misled the jury. This is what Kevin is saying happened. I think so too, yours truly. I think so too. No. I don't. She was removed. She was removed. Now, to be honest, in that situation with the second point, as far as the juror being removed, she was removed, and Kevin was saying that she should not have been removed because what he was saying is she was not the only somebody who worked at the group where the foster place or whatever where he um was a part of, and he thinks that they removed her because you know what I'm saying she knew him, and he made the point that it was another person on the jury that also knew him, but they didn't find that to be true, and they removed her. Now, I don't think anybody that knows, just like I think that the juror that knew the detective should have been removed. I also feel like I don't think like in deliberations as far as life and death, if you're gonna be fair, there should not be a person on the jury that knows you personally. Even though he was 19 at the time, and his interaction with that lady probably was back when he was a child. I don't think that anybody that knows you personally, in order for a trial to be fair, should be on the jury. That's whether they know you in a good way or know you in a bad way. I don't think it should be a part of the jury. All right. Um, Kevin is saying that the trial court committed error in allowing the state to argue that conscious decision to shoot was deliberation. I wonder if the lady that knew the detective was the one that took the foster lady's place. I don't know. I don't know. Prosecutor McCullough misled the jury, contravened the law, and created manifest injustice. A conscious decision to kill is second degree murder. Allow an argument that the jury had to acquit Kevin of first degree murder to consider second degree murder. Submitting instruction, the first degree murder verdict director, which failed to require um the element of first degree murder. I have no idea what they're saying by that. I just don't. I just don't. It's a lot. Um Kevin alleges the trial court erred in overruling the motion for judgment of acquittal. Sufficiency of the evidence argument is reviewed to determine if a reasonable jury had enough evidence to find the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Evidence and inferences favorable to the state are accepted, and contrary evidence and interferences are disregarded. The record shows Kevin retrieved his gun from his vehicle after his brother was taken to the hospital and expressed his belief that the police did not help his brother because they was focused on finding him. 2.5 hours later, Kevin approached Sergeant McEntee's patrol car, squatted down to see into the window, and said, "You killed my brother," before firing his handgun approximately 5 times at Sergeant McEntee's head and upper body. Kevin took Sergeant McEntee's silver gun and walked down the street with both guns. He then saw his mother and told her that that motherfucker let my brother die. He needs to see what it feels like to die. After leaving his mother, Kevin walked around the neighborhood and came to Sergeant McEntee, whose patrol car had rolled down the street and hit a tree. Kevin approached Sergeant McEntee and shot him more times in the head. Kevin drove to his father's house and later went to a family member's apartment for several days until he surrendered to police. The trial court did not err in overruling the judgment of acquittal, as a reasonable jury would have sufficient evidence to find Kevin guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Oh Lord, it's a lot. It's a lot. So basically, after all of that, the trial court did not find error in submitting the instruction. So he lost that point as well, y'all. He lost all 3 points in his appellate process. Three of Kevin's arguments were not preserved as appellate, did not object or trial or raise the points in the motion for a new trial. These points are reviewed for plain error. Plain error requires a finding of manifest injustice or miscarriage of justice. Let me see what this says. So basically, in this, and I'm not going to read all this stuff, I'm just going to give y'all a synopsis. For the third point, the point is denied, basically. They denied the third point as well. So in the end, Kevin did not win his appeal, y'all. All right. And it's a whole lot more to read as for mitigating circumstances, evidence, trial errors, and things of that nature. In fact, they got like let me see, 6 points. I'm not gonna get into all of them because a lot of them are, like just little things he tried to throw in there to get an appeal. And I will put the link to these documents in the description box if y'all want to go read it for yourself. But I'm not gonna read all of this stuff because basically I read that to give y'all sort of like an overview of the case and to let y'all know that he had filed an appeal and he actually lost. Okay. Now fast forward. Let me go all the way down. Oh, this is a lot. I mean, this is a lot. So I'm gonna come out of that. Basically, when his appeal was denied, he had gotten the death penalty, y'all. After his appeal was denied, he was placed back on death row, y'all. That was back in 2005. All right, so let's move forward to. That was a lie. I was not finna read all of that stuff. Now it's the state versus Johnson. Let me go to the next article. Y'all give me a second. Let me read this article. And this article is was put out after his appeal was denied, okay? Listen to this. Kevin Johnson said to be executed Tuesday after Missouri Supreme Court denies appeal. This article was dropped on November 29th, 2022. So apparently they took it to the Supreme Court and it was denied there as well. Johnson was convicted in 2007 of the killing of a Kirkwood officer 2 years earlier when Johnson was 19 years old. He was convicted in a second trial after jurors deadlocked in the first. Is that it? Wait a minute. I think that's it. Let me go to another article. That's ridiculous. Hold on. Missouri Supreme Court holds last minute hearing. Goddamn. They fought, y'all. And I'm going to tell you who fought for him his daughter. And that's why she plays a huge part in this story. And we're going to get to her in a minute. This was dropped on. It doesn't have a date. 1 week ago. It just says 1 week ago. Missouri Supreme Court holds last minute hearing on Kevin Johnson death penalty phase. Okay. What did you sure say? In order to find a mistrial, the factor of the appeal will have to prove the factors with the held would, of course, him to find not guilty by reasonable doubt. Apparently the truth, they listen. Every appeal that he filed, they denied it. It even went to the Supreme Court and they denied it. But I cannot read all that stuff. That's a lot of stuff to read. I wish I had known about this case when it. Well, actually, I wasn't even on YouTube back then. But anyway, it's a lot. The Missouri Supreme Court, it went all the way to the Supreme Court, y'all. We hear arguments on stopping the execute. Now, this is old, y'all, because right now, as of right now, he's already been executed. This is the article that was put out before he was actually executed. Okay. The Missouri Supreme Court will hear arguments on stopping the execution of Kevin Johnson. He was convicted of murdering a veteran Kirkwood police officer. On Tuesday, November 29th, Kevin Johnson is scheduled to be put to death by lethal injection. The Missouri Supreme Court will hear arguments on whether to stop the execution Monday, November 28th. So apparently, this article was done before November 28th. Okay. Johnson was convicted, and y'all gonna hear this so many times. In 2007 for killing a Kirkwood police officer. Court documents said he killed William McEntee during a fit of rage over Johnson's brother's death, which he blamed on police. Johnson's attorneys claimed racism played a role in seeking the death penalty, and that it should also be reconsidered because he was a teenager at the time. Johnson's daughter and several anti death penalty activists are also calling for Johnson's death sentence to be overturned. They are planning to rally outside the Missouri Supreme Court Monday morning. Johnson's teenage daughter, Corey Ramey, is it Rmaey? I don't know what that is. Recently lost her efforts to witness her father's death. Now, in the midst of fighting for his death penalty sentence to be overturned, his daughter was also fighting because she wanted to witness his execution. Why I don't know, but she did. She wanted to be there when he was executed in case they lost the appeal, right? But they denied her. And the reason why they denied her because she was only 19 years old And apparently in Missouri, you have to be 21 years old to witness an execution. So by her being 19, they denied her, and she was also fighting for that. Johnson's teenage daughter, Corey, recently lost her efforts to witness her father's death. She was challenging a Missouri state law that bars anyone under 21 for witnessing an execution. Former St. Louis County prosecuting attorney Bob McCullough, who prosecuted the case at the time, explained that the death penalty was appropriate in Johnson's case because he ambushed and purposely attacked McAtee. McCullough shared that Johnson shot the officer 5 times in a patrol car, which crashed, and then shot the officer 2 more times when he was pulled out of the car on his hands and knees. Now, this is what I mean about these articles. The previous appellate paperwork that I read said the officer got out of the car and fell to his knees. This article is saying Kevin pulled him out the car on his hands and knees. Okay. He's been this is what his daughter had to say. So they don't have a problem with executing a 19-year-old, but they can't watch and execute. Well, the thing about it is he was 19 years old when he committed the crime. He was not 19-year-old when he was executed. He was 19 years old back in 2005, but he wasn't executed until a couple months ago. They don't have a problem with giving a 19-year-old a death penalty, but apparently they have a problem with a 19-year-old with witnessing an execution. Apparently, the daughter says in her plea to watch her dad be executed, he's been my only living parent for the majority of my life. My mom passed away when I was 4, so all I know is my dad. McAtee was a 19-year-old veteran of the force and left behind a wife and 3 children. His wife told the judge in 2008, when Johnson was sentenced, justice could only be served if Johnson paid with his own life. Um, Let me see. That's the end of that one, y'all. Um, Now this particular article was done after he was executed. Okay. And I'm just reading these articles, getting y'all up to date, and then we're gonna listen to some videos, and I'm gonna tell y'all how I feel about the whole situation, and maybe someone will hit the link and be part of the commentary. Let me drop the link, y'all. Thank y'all so much for entertaining me today. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button and feel free to support the channel. All right, so this article was done or dropped November 29th. Okay, 9:27 p.m. A Missouri inmate convicted of ambushing and killing a St. Louis area police officer he blamed in the death of his younger brother was executed Tuesday night. Kevin Johnson, he was 37 when he was executed. Young, very young. Died after an injection of phenobarbital at the state prison in Bonaterre. He was the state's second execution this year and the 17th nationally. 2 more executions are scheduled in Missouri for the first few weeks of 2023. Johnson's attorneys didn't deny that he killed Officer McAtee in 2005, but contended he was sentenced to death in part because he is black. The courts and Republican Governor Mike Parson declined to stop the execution. McAtee, 43, was a 20-year veteran of the police department in Kirkwood, a St. Louis suburb. Hey, Fatal. A husband and father of 3, he was among the officers sent to Johnson's home on July 5th, 2005, to serve a warrant for his arrest. Johnson was on probation for assaulting his girlfriend. Hold on, gets deeper. He was on probation for assaulting his girlfriend, and police believe he had violated probation. Johnson served 2 years in prison saw officers arrive and awoke his 12-year-old. Y'all, hold on. I hate when these ads pop up. Hold on, y'all. This is more detail, y'all. Listen. Johnson saw officers arrive and awoke his 12-year-old brother, Joseph Long, who ran to a house next door. Once there, why is this ad? Oh my God. Once there, the boy or the brother, damn it, I hate when they do that. The brother who suffered from a congenital heart defect collapsed and began having a seizure. Okay, so the police came to Kevin's house. Kevin woke the brother up. The brother runs to a neighbor's house. Once the brother gets to the neighbor's house, he has a seizure. Johnson testified at trial. Johnson testified at trial that McAtee kept his brother from entering the house to aid his brother, who died a short time later at the hospital. So this, cause see, y'all, to be honest, I was wondering to myself, and I was gonna say that I was wondering to myself, why did he choose this particular police officer to shoot? Okay, because from what I was reading before, it was several police officers, you know what I'm saying, that showed up at the house. And I get that he felt like the police officers weren't doing their job, but it was several of them. And what really got me is when he said what he said to the guy and said, that motherfucker the reason why my brother dead. So apparently he was one of the police officers that responded, and according to Kevin, he Johnson testified at trial, and he testified at his trial. That's odd. Johnson testified in his own defense at his trial. Johnson testified at trial that McAtee kept his mother from entering the house to aid his brother, who died a short time later at the hospital. That evening, McAtee returned to the neighborhood to check on unrelated. I am sick of this ad. Keep popping up. I don't want it. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Okay. That evening, McAtee returned to the neighborhood to check on unrelated reports of fireworks being shot off. A court filing from the Missouri Attorney General's office said McAtee was in his car questioning three children when Johnson shot him through the open passenger side window, striking the officer's leg, head, and torso. A teenager was struck but survived. Johnson then got into the car and took. See, here's another. It's different. It's different than the other articles, y'all. The article, well, the first article stated he shot the guy, and the guy got out the car himself and fell to his knees. The other article said that Kevin pulled him out of the car, right? And he fell to his knees. This article is saying Johnson then got into the car and took McAtee's gun. This article is saying he actually got in the car and took his gun. All right, that's why I can't. The court filing said Johnson walked down the street and told his mother that McEntee let my brother die and needs to see what it feels like to die. Though she told him that's not true, Johnson returned to the shooting scene and found McEntee alive on his knees near the patrol car. Johnson shot McEntee in the back and in the head, killing him. Johnson's lawyers previously asked the courts to intervene for other reasons, including a history of mental illness and his age, 19 at the time of the crime. So he had a mental illness? Johnson's lawyers previously asked the courts to intervene for other reasons, including a history of mental illness and his age, which was 19. At the time of the crime, courts have increasingly considered Johnson's mental illness increasingly execution of offenders who were younger than 18 at the time of the crime. But a broader focus on appeals alleged racial bias. In October, St. Louis Circuit Judge Mary Elizabeth Ott, is that the other Judge Ott's wife or something? Appointed a special prosecutor to review the case. The special prosecutor, E. Keenan, filed a motion earlier this month to vacate. Oh my goodness. It's getting interesting, y'all. I'm going to go back. But a broader focus on appeals alleged racial bias. In October, St. Louis Circuit Judge Mary Elizabeth Ott appointed a special prosecutor to review the case. The prosecutor, E. Keenan, found a motion earlier this month to vacate the death sentence, stating that the race played a decisive factor in the death penalty. I declined to halt the execution, and appeals to the Missouri Supreme Court and U.S. Supreme Court were turned aside. Y'all listening? Now you bring in a special prosecutor, and you add now see, this is the thing. What you gonna bring them in for if you're not gonna go by what they suggest? You bring a special prosecutor in that says the execution needs to be stayed or halted because the decision to execute this young man was racially biased. All right. And you say to the prosecutor, the special prosecutor, no, I ain't gonna listen to you. I'm gonna kill him anyway.
Was
All
his
right.
decision to kill the white officer racially motivated?
No, his reasoning for killing the white officer is because he felt like when his brother went to the neighbor's house, suffered a seizure, and the mom tried to go in to help the brother, this officer stopped the mom from rendering aid to his brother. Not only did the officer stop the mom from entering to render aid, he also felt like they didn't call the ambulance and things on time to save the brother. That was his reasoning for doing what he did. Um, Kenneth Court filed and said former St. Louis. Now I'm gonna go back a little bit. Out declined to halt the execution, and appeals to the Missouri Supreme Court and U.S. Supreme Court were turned aside. Hey Cherokee, Keenan's court filing said former St. Louis County Prosecutor Bob McCullough office handled 5 cases involving the deaths of police officers during his 28 years in office. Now we're talking about the district attorney now, the prosecutor, okay? McCullough sought the death penalty in the other 4 cases involving black defendants, but did not seek death in one of the cases where the defendant was white. Did you hear that, Money Boy Trey? Y'all hear
I
that?
did.
You didn't hear what I just said? The prosecutor that prosecuted the case had 5 other cases during the same period of time where police officers were shot and killed. 4 other defendants were black, one was white. He sought the death penalty for the 4 black guys, did not seek the death penalty for the white guy.
What were the circumstances of the murders?
Huh?
What were the circumstances of the black guys' murders versus the white guys? You got to know these things.
They all killed police officers.
How though makes a difference.
What makes a difference?
How? Did somebody kill the police in self-defense? How did this go?
You need to drop down and come back. You sound like a robot. You breaking up. I need to understand what you're saying. What makes a difference? asking me. Maybe it's me because my bars are moving. It may be me. Can y'all understand Trey? He's gonna come back up, y'all. He dropped down. What do y'all think about what I just said? I'm gonna say it again. The prosecutor prosecuting the case against Kevin Johnson doing it around the same time. He prosecuted 5 other cases where police officers were shot. 4 of the defendants were black, one was white. With the 4 black defendants, he went for the death penalty. With the white guy, he didn't. What you gotta say, Trey?
Um, I was saying, what is the circumstance behind it? Like, we know how this officer was killed in this one. We need
Hmm.
to know the other ones, including in the white guy's situation.
It really
Could have been
doesn't
a.
say. It
And
doesn't
did the white guy
say.
take a
I
plea?
guess like
Did the white guy take a plea, or did he go to trial?
I don't know yet. Maybe it'll come up later in this article, but as for now, I don't know that. I would have to research some more.
See, they want you to go straight into race, but then when they ask them questions like that, they don't know. They supposed to put that in their story since they went to race.
Yeah, but you don't think that's odd though?
Uh, if it can be explained, then yes, it would be odd. But if it could be explained by simply saying the white guy took a plea and the other ones didn't, then it's not racist. He took a plea. Typically, if you take a plea, they take the death penalty off the table.
Yeah, they do. They typically do. Um, McCullough, who's the prosecutor we're talking about, his father was a police officer killed in the line of duty. Another fact. McCullough, the prosecutor, who sought the death penalty, his father was a police officer killed in the line of duty. McCullough does not have a listed phone number and cannot be reached for comment. Johnson's 19-year-old daughter, Corey, had sought to witness the execution, but a state law prohibits anyone under 21 from observing the process. Courts declined to step in on her behalf. The U.S. saw 98 executions in 1999, but the number has dropped dramatically in recent years. Missouri already has scheduled 2 for early 2023. Convicted killer Scott McLaughlin is scheduled to die on January 3rd, and convicted killer Leonard Taylor execution is set for February the 7th. The Truth said, I know why they sought the death penalty on Johnson. The police officer wasn't the person who shot his brother. His brother wasn't shot. He found a police officer and killed him. He showed no empathy. That's the thing. The truth. That's what I thought as well. I thought he just shot some random police officer just because he was a police officer. But he did state that the reason why he stated that that guy in particular pretty much was responsible for his brother dying in his mind. And then too, I didn't know about the mental health issue either. Apparently, he had some sort of mental health issue, but they didn't go deep into that. So let me pull up some videos, y'all. It was a couple of videos that I found on the story. Okay. So with that being said, let's listen to something right quick, y'all. Who this a lie? It got my head hurt. Let me see. Mm, mm, let me see. So in this first video, we're gonna listen to, and this is just random videos that I found, y'all, and they're not long at all, of course. So let's listen to the first video. This was 8 days ago. He did it too. He did it so soon after his brother died that it was clearly a mitigating circumstance that should have taken the death penalty off the table. In my opinion, I feel that way as well. But of course, I could be biased because I don't uh, necessarily condone the death penalty for anybody. I'm just one of those ones that don't believe that killing a person because they killed a person, is right. But I do believe that if a person kills somebody, they should spend the rest of their lives in prison. I just don't believe that killing a person. And to be honest, on the flip side of that, I feel like um, a person being executed versus a person spending life in prison. I feel like the life in prison, even though they still have life, I feel like the life in prison is uh, much more of a punishment than actually just killing a person. But that's just my beliefs. They could change. I felt that way for a while as an adult, but that's just the way I feel. Okay, then that changes. It should have been given life without a chance parole. I feel that way in this case. Be true. I don't, the way he killed that officer, it was horrendous. It was sad. It was unnecessary. It was overkill, right? I do believe that. With that being said, I feel like because of other circumstances that he should not have gotten the death penalty, honestly. I do feel like he should have gotten life, for what he did. I do believe that. We're gonna listen to a video that was done 8 days ago. And this is entitled "Wife of Murdered Police Officer Speaks Out After Kevin Johnson is Executed." Let me make sure my Bluetooth is on. I'll give me a second. All right, so yeah, this is entitled "Wife of Murdered Police Officer Speaks Out After Kevin Johnson is Executed." Let's listen to what she has to say, y'all.
At 6:32 p.m., the Department of Corrections received word that all petitions had been denied by the U.S. Supreme Court and the department could begin with the execution sequence. At 7:20 p.m., the witnesses were moved into the viewing area.
Well, actually, this is not the wife speaking at first. This is, I guess, I don't know who this woman is, but she's not the wife. This is somebody telling what happened, y'all. Listen.
At 6:32 p.m., the Department of Corrections received word that all petitions had been denied by the U.S. Supreme Court and the department could begin with the execution sequence. At 7:20 p.m., the witnesses were moved into the viewing area. At 7:28 p.m., Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt notified the Department of Corrections that there are no legal impediments to the lawful execution of Kevin Johnson. At 7:28 p.m., Governor Parsons' office was asked whether there's any reason that the lawful execution of Kevin Johnson for the murder of William McEntee should not proceed. The answer was to proceed. At 7:29 p.m., the order was given to proceed with the lawful execution. At 7:29 p.m., the lethal injection of pentobarbital was administered. At 7:31 p.m., the 5-minute timer was set. At 7:40 p.m., Kevin Johnson was pronounced dead.
An execution occurred on July 5th, 2005.
This is the wife, okay, but it was an execution style killing. In most states, the death penalty will be sought in an extra. Yeah, you're right, the truth. This is the wife, y'all.
Sergeant William McEntee was ambushed and shot 5 times in his police car. He crashed his car up the street, and Kevin Johnson decided to be judge, jury, and executioner when he walked back to Bill's car and was on his hands and knees in his own pool of blood when Kevin Johnson shot him 2 more times, execution style, in the back of his head. A murder so bad, Kevin Johnson's own cousin, who was watching this happen, had threw up. Our family chose not to focus on all the injustice and negativity that was said about Bill, my husband, a brother and father and son during this process. Instead, we surrounded ourselves with faith, family, friends, and love, and those who knew what a good man was that loved him. All the slanders and comments and judgments and unfounded and simply not true to slander a good man's name and try to tarnish his reputation and spew hate is just just to change the sentence. That was a horrible thing to do to our family. His children were devastated that their dad was murdered being 7, 10, and 13. They didn't have a chance to say goodbye. It took 17 years of grieving and pushing forward to get to this point today. This is something I hope no other family has to go through, because you truly never forget or get over.
Okay, that was it. That was the wife speaking, y'all. And the thing about it is, like, and I want to make my stance. I'm gonna drop the link for anybody that wants to come up, but I want to make my stance very clear, about what I feel about this case. All right, and what I feel about this case is, all right, Kevin Johnson did what he did. I don't know about the mental illness or what he suffered from because they didn't go into it. I do know losing his brother and thinking the police officer in his mind had something to do with it. I get his anger. I get it. I get it. I get it. But I do think that him shooting that officer was execution style. Because you gotta think about it. You rolled up on him in his car, right? And you shot him 5 times. The car rolled, it crashed. You walking off. You turn around and you go back and you shoot him 2 more times. That to me is overkill. Okay. And it amazes me how some of these stories that I cover resonates with me. So just like with Jamila's story and her daughter, facts. It amazes me sometimes when I be covering this stuff how, some of the facts and some of the situations um, relate to my son's death. The guy that shot my son, he shot him in the leg. From what we were told after the autopsy and everything was done, that shot to the leg ultimately, if my son had not received care in a certain amount of time, was going to kill him anyway because he was shot in the main artery in his leg. After my son was shot in the leg, he literally tried to get away. I mean, the crime scene had his blood. It was a trail of his blood. Okay. So he literally tried to get away. He didn't shoot back. He didn't fight this guy. He actually tried to get away. My son lost so much blood. Hold on a minute, y'all. Hold on a minute. Um, in the process of getting away or whatever, my son lost so much blood that he literally, fell to the ground. You lose blood, you get weak, especially if it's a injury that can kill you. And you got to remember, running or anything like that was pumping the blood. It was pumping the blood, so he was losing blood. He fell to the ground, okay, and the guy, after he fell to the ground, walked up to him, stood over his body, shot him 2 more times. Okay, so yeah, not just because of my son's case, it's just because of common sense. Like if you already shot the guy 5 times, you feel me? Uh, he crashes, you come up to him and you shoot him 2 more times. That's an execution. That's an execution. And even though it is an execution, and I feel the way I feel about a person who would do something like that, I still don't believe that one death makes another death right. I just don't. And I know it's weird. I know it's weird. I know to some people they don't get it. I absolutely feel like now, not bringing in the mental health issues because we don't know what they were. I do know that in losing his brother that night and thinking or believing, that, if that cop had not intervened, that his brother may still be living. I get it. I get it. And with all that being said, I do believe that he deserved to go to prison, even though he felt the way about his little brother dying. And just like I feel like because that officer died, that he didn't need to die, I felt like because his brother passed, that means you go out and kill. Because the thing about it is, if that officer had anything to do with your brother passing, you let the courts or whatever handle that. You know what I mean? You lost your brother, I get it. But you in turn don't go, you feel me, and kill another person. And believe it or not, I had to have that conversation with several of my family members after my son passed. Still to this day have to have those conversations. And have to explain to a lot of people why I feel that way. That yeah, just because this guy killed my son, I'm still not gonna say it's okay to kill him. Because I don't think killing in any situation is right. But with this guy, Lord rest his soul and Lord rest the soul of that officer. I do believe that he should have at least done life in prison. I don't believe that he should have been executed. And that's just how I stand on that. A lot of people don't understand my way of thinking. A lot of people in my real life don't understand my way of thinking. I get it. But that's just how I feel. Um, Let me find another video. I want y'all to listen to, and then we're gonna get out of here. Most of these videos are talking about them trying to stay the execution. Let's listen to this one that's talking about the denial of his daughter's request, okay? Judge denies, the title of this one is Judge Denies 19-year-old daughter's request to witness Kevin Johnson execution. Let's listen to that one.
Convicted cop killer Kevin Johnson's execution date is set for Tuesday. Johnson killed Kirkwood Police Sergeant William McEntee in 2005. New tonight, federal court denied Johnson's 19-year-old daughter's request to attend the execution. Shoshana Stahl breaks down the last-minute efforts to save his life.
It's ironic, right, that Kevin was 19 years old when he committed this crime, and they are still trying to move forward with his execution, though they won't allow his daughter, who's 19 at this time, in because she's too young.
For more than a decade, Kevin Johnson has sat on death row for killing Kirkwood Police Sergeant William McEntee. He's facing lethal injection in a matter of days. Many people, including his lawyer Sean Nolan, are asking Missouri Governor Mike Parson to grant clemency.
I would say surprised by his remarks. I would think that the governor should be more concerned about racism in the court system in Missouri. And so we're hopeful that maybe he'll take a second look at it and maybe review all of the information that we put forth in the clemency petition.
Those remarks came after News 4 asked Governor Parson about Johnson's case earlier this week. This is what the governor had to say.
You got a guy that went over and cold-blooded killed a police officer by 2 shots in the head after he shot him multiple times. I mean, it's a pretty vicious crime. And sometimes you have to answer the consequences of that.
Johnson's 19-year-old daughter, Corey Ramey, asked a federal court to allow her to watch her father's execution. Under current Missouri law, you must be 21 years old to witness an execution. On Friday, courts denied that request. Ramey had a representative read a statement for her, claiming this decision will cause her an immense amount of pain.
It is excruciating to know that I am about to lose my dad all over again when the state of Missouri kills him. Yet I cannot be present for his death simply because of my age.
In that statement, Ramey says not only did she want to be there as a witness, but it's also what her dad wanted.
I am my dad's closest living relative, and he is mine, other than my baby son. If my dad were dying in a hospital, I would sit by his side holding his hand and praying for him until his death, both as a source of support for him and as a support for me as a necessary part of my grieving process and for my peace of mind.
Johnson's execution is set for Tuesday, November 29th. Shoshana Stahl, News 4.
On Monday, the Missouri Supreme Court will hear arguments on a request for a stay of execution. That would mean delaying the death from moving forward on Tuesday.
So what do y'all think? Do y'all think that she should have been allowed to witness his death? Do y'all think it was extenuating circumstances for them to allow her to be there when he was executed? What do y'all think? Let me see. Let me see. I'm gonna try to find one after he was executed, y'all. Um, and I don't see one. Oh, exclusive interview. Family of Kevin Johnson speaks on racist trial leading to death penalty. I don't think so because I don't understand why she would want to be there. I guess if you were in that situation, if I were in that situation, I probably would think differently. But I don't understand why she would want to be there. Ebooks, I don't think she needed to see that. I don't think the state should have had any say in the matter when it comes to an adult making that decision. Right, right. Let's listen to this little video, y'all, and then we're gonna get out of here. I promise. Y'all be sure to hit the like button for your girl, like someone said in the chat. I think it. Okay, Lucius, you had to walk away. We'll catch the replay. Okay, Lucius, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Y'all hit the like button and feel free to support the channel. Let's listen to this right quick, y'all.
Of a black boy who was neglected.
Okay, so this is entitled. This was done 2 months ago. Okay, exclusive interview. Family of Kevin Johnson speaks out on racist trial leading to death penalty. Let's listen.
This is the tragic story of a black boy who was neglected and ultimately failed by a racist, anti-black system, and why the boy turned man, Kevin KJ Johnson, now faces state-sanctioned execution by the state of Missouri. On the evening of July 5th, 2005, Kirkwood police sought to serve a warrant at a family residence in Meacham Park, a neighborhood in St. Louis County, searching for Kevin KJ Johnson. KJ wasn't there, but observed the events from a neighboring home. The traumatic and violent entry of the police caused Kevin's 12-year-old brother, Joseph Bam Bam Long, who had a serious heart condition, to suffer a seizure and collapse. The police ignored the medical emergency. Witnesses say the police stepped over his body and continued searching the house. Witnesses also attest that police officer William McConte held back KJ's mother from attending to her child on the ground. An ambulance later arrived, and Bam Bam was taken to the hospital where he died. Many community members argue Bam Bam could have been saved if he had received medical attention, and say in other words that the police murdered the 12-year-old child by forcefully denying him medical assistance. KJ witnessed all of this taking place from a neighboring home and experienced irreparable rage and grief. Just 2 hours later, McConte, the same officer who in essence caused the death of Bam Bam, responded to a report of fireworks in that same neighborhood, and a chance encounter with KJ ensued. Kevin approached McConte and said, quote, "You killed my brother," before shooting McConte multiple times. Johnson, now 36 years old, received his sentence from the St. Louis County Circuit Court in 2008 after prosecution by former St. Louis County prosecuting attorney and well-known white supremacist sympathizer Robert McCulloch. On August 24th, 2022, the Missouri Supreme Court issued an execution warrant and scheduled an execution date of November 29th, 2022 for Kevin Johnson. Community members say that no one is arguing with whether or not what KJ did was wrong, but they say instead that a 19-year-old who acted out of passion and rage following the murder of his little brother should not face the death penalty. A growing campaign has backed Johnson, often referring to him again by the name KJ. His supporters claim his trial was riddled with missteps and racial bias, and that Johnson was only 19 years old at the time. In addition, Johnson's supporters want to abolish the death sentence. This is what his family has to say as the execution date approaches.
That particular law is also about wrongful convictions, but it's also about constitutional violations. And so in KJ's case, because he was 19, he was very young. Also because of just what happened during the trials. He had 2 trials. There was a lot of, racial bias going on. Trying to make sure there weren't black jurors. There were just a lot of different things that the prosecution at that time did, to make sure that they got a guilty verdict and a death sentence that just don't hold up. So the current prosecutor, he has, stated that he will appoint a special prosecutor to look into it. And we hope that happens.
He did it. This woman who's speaking for the family said that the old prosecutor, that McCullough guy, showed a lot of racism during the trial, and the new prosecutor stated that they were going to hire a special prosecutor to come in and review the case, and he did, and that special prosecutor said that the execution should be stayed, but then they still decided to kill him. Okay.
We definitely hope that. Set the execution date. Right, the court. Yeah, that's right. The courts don't, take a lot of things into consideration. There are people who get executed. Actually, someone we worked with last year still had motions in court, and they were executed. So that process doesn't necessarily stop anything unless, they really stop it. But just having a motion in court and just saying I'm going to look into something doesn't necessarily stop anything. But we hope that a prosecutor will come on to look into the details of everything and actually get the execution date stopped. That is our hope and our wish, our prayer of those who are religious. But it's the court still went ahead and set the date, and they did ask them not to, but they did. So our court system is a whole other beast. So that's what they decided to do.
Yeah. What do you think that said? Like I was gonna say, just knowing that he's already served 17 years, that pretty much everybody that knows him says that he's not a violent person, that everybody that is around him enjoys his presence. It seems that's how people have described him. So just in you all's opinion or experience, does it just seem like hypocritical, or just how would you describe how the system treating him in this way makes you feel? Is it racist? Is it just kind of, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's racist, but also the prosecuting attorney at the time trying to prove a point at the time, and I think like he felt like it hit close to home because his father was killed in the line of duty. So he wanted to do whatever he could, especially, and it was by a black man. So he wanted to do whatever he could to try to make sure Kevin never touched the streets again, ever was released from jail, but also, and now I think that was really the only way of him doing it, was giving him death, because with all these other laws that's going, even if he would have given him life, he could, it's a possibility that he could still, come home. So I think that's what it was really.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of racism and bias, and that's why we advocate for the end of state sanctioned murder is what it is, because it's a lot of bias. There is actually another case in our community where a 18-year-old killed a policeman. And apparently that was with all intent, malice. The person that spoke about it wrote about it on the internet and all type of things. And for whatever reason, he had a vendetta against policemen. But he did that, and he got the weapon. He talked about he was going to do it, and he did it. And McCullough said, "Oh, that situation didn't arise to meet the criteria of needing a death sentence."
And that person was like,
Yes. Yes.
This was recent, what, 2016?
I believe so. Yeah, right before, because McCullough left in 18. So yes. And so that case, and it was a policeman, right? It was, a very heinous, if you want to talk about heinous situations, planning and calculated, and
premeditated. And he tried to kill another officer, but his gun jammed. And they actually charged him with assault on another officer when he went to court. So, like, how is that not fit?
Right, it was those circumstances. There are certain circumstances that they use to say if someone needs a death sentence or not. All of it is, we don't necessarily agree with it, but these are their standards, right? And so premeditation definitely is one of them. But in that particular person's case, no, he was a white kid. He was, for whatever reason, the prosecutor.
Wait a minute. I gotta go back. Hold on. So maybe this is the white guy. Hold on. I gotta go back. Y'all listen. Hold on.
That they use to say if someone needs a death sentence or not. All of it is, we don't necessarily agree with it, but these are their standards, right? And so premeditation definitely is. Policeman, right? It was, because it's a lot of bias. There is actually another case in our community where a 18-year-old killed a policeman. And apparently that was with all intent, malice. The person that spoke about it wrote about it on the internet and all type of things. And for whatever reason, he had a vendetta against policemen. But he did that, and he got the weapon. He talked about he was going to do it, and he did it. And McCullough said, "Oh, that situation didn't arise to meet the criteria of needing a."
So how much y'all want to bet that's the white guy? Remember I told y'all that McCullough prosecuted 5 other death penalty cases other than Mr. Johnson of defendants killing police officers. Remember I said it was 4 black guys, 1 white guy. The 4 black guys, he went for the death penalty. The white guy not. So this might be the white guy that they're talking about. Now this guy shot a police officer, tried to shoot another one. It was premeditated. Huh? But listen to what he said about that. Listen.
Racism and bias, and that's why we advocate for the end of state sanctioned murder is what it is, because it's a lot of bias. There is actually another case in our community where a 18-year-old killed a policeman. And apparently that was with all intent, malice. The person that spoke about it wrote about it on the internet and all type of things. And for whatever reason, he had a vendetta against policemen. But he did that, and he got the weapon. He talked about he was going to do it, and he did it. And McCullough said, "Oh, that situation didn't arise to meet the criteria of needing a death sentence."
And that person was like,
Yes. Yes.
This was recent, what, 2016?
I believe so. Yeah, right before, because McCullough left in 18. So yes. And so that case, and it was a policeman, right? It was, a very heinous, if you want to talk about heinous situations, planning and calculated, and
premeditated. And he tried to kill another officer, but his gun jammed. And they actually charged him with assault on another officer when he went to court. So, like, how is that not fit?
Right, it was those circumstances. There are certain circumstances that they use to say if someone needs a death sentence or not. All of it is, we don't necessarily agree with it, but these are their standards, right? And so premeditation definitely is one of them. But, in that particular person's case, no, he was a white kid. He was, for whatever reason, the prosecutor didn't think that he deserved
So he was the white kid. See, y'all see what I'm saying? And let me say this before it's like maybe 11 more minutes left on this video, and I'm gonna play the rest of it, and then we're gonna get out of here. But let me say this: Do y'all know how many people? Do y'all realize how many people that's been executed and it's later found? And they don't publicize this type stuff, y'all. But believe me, it goes on. Do y'all know how many people are executed, mostly black, and it's found later that they could be innocent? Do y'all know that happens a lot? And look at this. This case right here. This is why this case right here is so important, because this case right here, even though Kevin Johnson was totally wrong in what he did, it's still a corrupt case. It's still a case of racism. How in the hell do you take his case and then you take the white guy's case? If anything, if you were gonna give Kevin a death penalty, why is his case any different? His was premeditated. Kevin acted off of emotions. His brother had just died, and he felt the officer had something to do with it. That's not a reason to kill anybody. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is those were the circumstances, and that's why he stated he did what he did. You got this other 18-year-old white guy who premeditated just because he had a quote unquote issue with the police. In his case, it's not a death penalty case. Y'all know that ain't right. Listen, y'all.
Receive a death sentence or to be tried for a possible death sentence. So definitely a lot of racism overall in that office under that former prosecutor, and in KJ's case and so many other people's cases as well. So it's very difficult. You know, it's difficult to even ask the court to acknowledge or to do anything about, because when a person is a prosecutor, they have a certain authority, and that person has been a prosecutor for almost 30 years. So he's very prominent in this community. So just to even, ask some people to look into this person is a heavy lift, right? Sadly, it is. So, but that is something that we think should happen. We're going to keep pushing for accountability and for actual justice, because right now KJ did not receive it, and KJ had two trials. I don't know if you know this. KJ had two trials. His first trial, it was a mistrial. It was a 10-2 verdict, and actually the 10 was for second degree murder. But the second trial was more pointed, was more. The prosecution made sure that the mitigating circumstances of KJ's life and his trauma were kept out of that second trial, just so that the jury could.
Oh my goodness. So in the first trial, his circumstances, mitigated circumstances, were allowed in. In the second trial, they wasn't. Okay. Okay.
Have any empathy for him, or couldn't, understand. So it was very calculated to make sure that he got his verdict.
So in the first trial, it was a hung jury, 10 for second degree murder. She didn't say what the other two were for, but you do know that if they had convicted him of second degree murder, he probably wouldn't have faced the death penalty. He probably would have just faced life, right? So picture it. First trial is a hung jury. The prosecutor sees this McCullough guy, sees that these people almost convicted him of second degree murder and not first. Okay. So in the second trial, he makes and I'm gonna say it, calculated move to leave out the mitigating circumstances, which probably caused the jury to feel like it was second degree murder. So he made sure those circumstances was not brought up in the second trial, which led the jury to convict him of first degree murder. Hence the death penalty. See, stuff like this y'all make me mad. And people don't realize, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like this make me mad because see, this is the thing. I'm all about being fair, and right is right and wrong is wrong. Like I said, I'm gonna say it again. Kevin deserved to go to prison, right? Without all the extra, without all the racism and things of that nature. He definitely deserved to go to prison. Did he deserve to die? No. And I know that sounds weird coming from me, but I cannot change the way I feel.
In time.
So between the courts and a racist prosecutor, Meacham Clark, um, KJ himself, who do you feel like ultimately failed KJ the most?
Mhm. That is.
Probably the system
The
itself.
system
Probably
itself,
the
yeah.
system itself.
Another case. Another case of the system failing another human being. Because if y'all been paying close attention, I don't know, y'all sticking in here with me, and I feel like y'all are. Apparently, his childhood wasn't all that. Now, I'm not judging the mom, don't know what the mom's circumstances were, but they did mention that he had been in foster care. They did mention, other things that went on in his life, right? They mentioned all of that. So, when they say they feel like the system failed him, I feel like the system may have failed him as a child, and then the system then again failed him as an adult. That's my opinion.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. It's
From being young in group homes up until all of this happened.
Yeah. I know he said when he was in court that he said that he was going through a haze or something like that, and they laughed at him. So that alone there just goes to show that they didn't really care about how he felt or just trying to bring anything that he felt into the picture. So
wow. I've seen court personnel make light of a defendant's mental health. I've actually seen that. Not.
Y'all, mental health. Mental health. And the reason why I'm gonna point out the whole mental health factor, which they seem, and I'm glad they repeated it because they glossed over it in the article that I read. And y'all know I don't typically make things about race, but when race is involved, I can't help it, right? Do y'all know how many of these mass shooters that has gotten off, not completely off, but have gotten off or will get off because they holler mental health issues? Huh? Right? We've seen it. We've seen it. So this guy's mental health issues weren't a factor in what he did because I absolutely think that he had some type of mental health issues for the mere fact of how he killed this guy. It was too much. It was overkill. So I absolutely believe there was some mental health issues, traumas from childhood, and all of that. You got to remember a child that's been in the foster care system, a child that's been in group homes. That was his brother that passed. That was his brother who he probably was not raised with. Okay? Let's just keep it a buck. And I'm gonna look deep into this story because I want to know about the I want to know about his mama. I want to know about all of that. But this is the thing. Now, his situation and his past and his mental health issues, that it didn't matter. Come on, I was trying to call you Luscious because I know that's how you say it, but I call you Lucius. Come on, Lucius. Y'all, we just got to keep stuff a buck over here, no matter how much it hurts. The The man was failed. 19 years old doing what he did. The system failed him as a child. And see, a lot of times the system and the state don't want to acknowledge the fact that they failed a young person. They don't want to acknowledge that shit. So, you know, they sugarcoat all of that. Oh, you know, we failed him as a child, but as an adult, he committed this act, and he needs to die. You threw him away as a child. Now you're gonna throw him away as an adult. You're gonna completely get rid of him. You got his daughter over here begging to spend her dad's last moments with her. She can't do it. You won't allow it. And I don't give a damn what nobody says. There's a lot of laws that they set aside for certain people. Let's just be clear. Let's listen.
KJ's case, but I've seen that myself, and it's very, very sad. But the system definitely failed. I've actually talked to someone who worked in one of those group homes, and they closed it down because there was so much abuse in this group home. It got closed down. So
you take children that's removed from the home because of probably abuse, neglect, abandonment, all of that. You put them in a group home where they get abused. State group homes, I mind you, state group homes that's run by the state, paid for by the state, they get abused. And then they turn out to be a guy like Kevin Johnson that kills a police officer. And it's all his fault. Even though he suffered all these traumas.
I've always said that, you know, the system never wants to be held accountable. No, nobody is ever accountable for anything that happens to children and young people. It's like, you know, whatever happens, you know, group homes, foster care, whatever, and nobody's responsible. But soon as that child or young person does something to somebody, here come the whole arm of the law, you know, on top of them. It's like, okay, but where was y'all at when this child was going through what they were going through? Yeah, so it's definitely a systemic failure that we feel, KJ, we feel so many young people every single day, and no one is really held accountable for that. But sad.
Just so I'm clear, by the system, do you mean like the children's homes and everything that led up to the situation?
Yes, all of it. I mean, even schools, right? School system. Actually, I spoke to one of KJ's former school principals, and we talked about, you know, that where the school failed as well, because they didn't, you know, and I mean, it's the way the society is set up, right? Teachers are overwhelmed. Not saying that they're not, but, you know, from the schools, from the court system, from social services, you know, family courts, you know, these group homes, it's all a huge failure, and it's only punishment or accountability when it turns on, you know, someone else. But the system just is all over, just horrible. So yeah, it's very much a systemic problem that happened to in the whole community. I mean, just Mitchell Park overall, just like I said, how they broke the community up, put the highway, split it up, just made it to where, you know, the people were vulnerable, they were poor, they didn't have a lot, you know, just the way that, and this happens to so many Black communities, right, and poor communities. So just, you know, even that situation, how Mitchell Park came to be, how it was, is a systemic failure.
Wow.
Is there anything that KJ specifically wanted the public to know or wants the people to know?
Just wants everybody to keep signing, keep fighting, keep signing the petition.
Yeah, he just wants everyone to like be aware of what's going on. Like this can happen to anybody, and he just wants people to, you know, just spread the word and try to help him as much as possible, and
reach out to the governor's
office.
office.
Reach out to people, and just do everything that you can.
And also he wants, his family supported. Corey is 19. She is due any moment now to have KJ's grandson, and so he is very, very, when I talk to him, at least concerned about you and making sure you're okay and have the support that you need. So I think that
So
he
the little soft spoken, and she looked so much different in this video. I didn't even know it was her. Did I put up another picture of her? But I got a video, y'all. If y'all would stay tuned after I leave in this live instead of playing more, 19 is pregnant in this particular video, and she looks so much different, but she's had the baby. But that the little soft spoken voice that you hear, that's his 19-year-old daughter. She's pregnant, and he's concerned about her. And apparently her mom died when she was 4. Don't know what happened with that, but I am gonna look more into it. And I don't know who raised her, but of course he was locked up. Her mom died at 4. And so yeah, it's just a it's just a sad case all around, y'all.
is very much still thinking about other people, and not just his other family members, everyone. So he definitely wants, and that's one thing that I'm here. My organization is here for, to support the family. But yeah, he definitely talks a lot about his daughter, and how he wants her to be okay, and make sure she has what she needs, and support as well. So I think that is a huge a fatherly thing, right? So, and I also want to talk about the fact that even though he is incarcerated, death row, KJ has had amazing relationship with Corey. So, kind of talk about your relationship with your dad a little bit.
So right here, his daughter, 19, is gonna talk about her relationship with her dad, who's been locked up pretty much, I guess, since before maybe or right after she was born. Listen.
Well, even though he's been incarcerated my whole life, it's almost like he's still been there. From like what I can remember from like middle school, I know that I was having my report cards sent to him, and if I had a bad grade or something, he would see that, so he would be calling me, getting me, just getting on me about that, and getting myself together. And even now, like he wants the best for me. Like, you about to be a mom, you gotta get your stuff together. You gotta, just do everything you can. Don't be a bum. So he definitely just, yeah, he wants the best for me. And even though it's really hard on him right now, he's just trying to make sure that I'm okay and that I still have everything that I need to have to be successful. And yeah, just he's telling me like, don't let this stuff get to me and try to be strong and stuff like that. Yeah, just even with the books. Yeah. Yeah, he was just like, even when he wrote the books, and he was saying numerous of times in the book that I'm like his world and like his.
I gotta see if he got books out, y'all. They say he wrote a book. Let me write that down. Even with the books, when he was writing the book, I wonder if the book has been published. I'm gonna have to look that up, y'all. All right, listen.
Only happiness and stuff like that. So we got a good bond, and just he's just always been there for me. Like, even if I need to talk, like, I don't talk to him about boys though. He's gonna have that point of view. So, but yeah, he's real supportive in everything I do. Like, if I was to go to college or something, he sent me college scholarships that I can get into, or like programs, or like I told him I wanted to be a nurse, so he's had like some of his friends that are nurses or like LPNs or something contact me, and like, yeah, just try to help me as much as possible. He does everything he can from behind bars. And yeah. So it's almost like he's not behind bars, but
Come on, Lucius.
yeah, he does as much as he can. So
Come on.
That's amazing.
yeah.
That's very, very amazing. He definitely, actually, the first time we spoke, we had a conversation about you and being pregnant, and he's just like, I was upset, but I'm trying to be okay. And I'm like, yeah, she Seems like a smart young lady, and she's gonna be okay. So,
Yeah, he definitely coming around to the fact now. Like,
Yeah,
he's
he
more
was
concerned
mad.
about. Yeah, he's mad, but he let me when I was pregnant.
He was mad at everybody. He's like, you having another baby? He used to be out there, you about to have another baby.
But yeah, he coming around to the fact like he's more concerned about me and my health. Like he's calling me, asking me, am I in labor yet? Or, like, what they saying, like if I was to have a C-section, how would I feel? Like stuff like that. So he's definitely a concerned parent, and just like he's not really trying to let what's going on affect him. He's still trying to be a good dad, and just how he's been all these years. He's trying to still maintain that. So
yeah, there's a lot of pictures of Corey growing up, visiting her dad, and different pictures that they've shared with us as well, and we've used. So, yeah, I can definitely tell that he's been there, and it is difficult being incarcerated, trying to be a parent. So that's not an easy thing to do. So I just think it's amazing that you all have that type of bond. And
yeah.
What are some of your, sorry, go ahead.
I wasn't saying
Oh,
anything.
okay. Uh,
All right, so that's the end of that. That's the end of that, y'all. Oh shoot, I can. Yeah, I got. Somebody help me. I've got 2,322 pillows on my bed. I do, and I just keep one. I thought I kicked it and knocked something over, but anyway. Yeah, so that's that on that, y'all. I think I just want to, and I know this case is pretty much over, it's done. He's gone, Lord rest his soul. Hopefully he got right. Maybe ask for forgiveness for his sin. Um from how the daughter describes him, he tried to be as much of a dad to her as he could from inside those walls. Um and everybody deserves forgiveness, even the most heinous acts. Everybody deserves forgiveness. I just want to look more in child, and I'm gonna try my best and come with an update live if I come up with anything. But other than that, y'all, we're done. That's the case of Kevin Johnson. He was executed on November 29th of this year. He has a beautiful daughter who had a baby. Our prayers go up for her, and our prayers also go up to the family, the wife, the kids of the fallen police officer. I mean, hey, he was innocent. Whether or not he did what Kevin claimed he didn't deserve to die. He did not. In Kevin's mind, he felt like that officer was responsible for his brother's death. Yeah, it's just sad, y'all. Thank you, Ducking Felonies. Thank you. It's really, make sure you hit that subscription button, girl, and that notification bell, honey. But yeah, it's all sad, y'all. My prayers are up for everybody involved in this situation. Um, it's a terrible situation, and I'm gonna just say that prosecutor McCullough. Thank God that he's no longer in office. I'm sorry, it is what it is. Thank God that he's no longer in office. Okay, I said it, and I meant it. Thank you so much. Lucia said it's sad because of how she kept her away. How it's sad because of how kept her away from him. They just robbed her of so many of her rights as a U.S. citizen. That happens all the time, Lucia says. You're right. I know I'm coming back with another live on this, if not just to talk about the whole subject. Because I do have to get off here. I got something to do before I go live later, but it's just so much. And I believe in justice. I believe in our law. I believe in all of that. But when it's corrupt, it's sort of kind of hard to believe in it. You feel me? It's sort of kind of hard to keep the faith. Okay, I'm gonna just say that. But anywho, I'm gonna get off of here. Money boy, if you're not busy, you want to say anything before we get off of here?
I didn't do it.
Oh God, back on mute. Okay, thank you, Devon. Shout out to yours truly. Shout out to our precious yours truly. She's the one that brought this case to my attention. Thank you, sis. These are the type of cases that I absolutely want to cover on this channel. I appreciate you so much for doing that. I do. And with that being said, y'all, listen. I love all of y'all. Send it. Listen, I'm gonna put up my email, ducking felonies, because I really need y'all. If y'all want me to cover something, to send it to my email. It's just easier for me that way. So let me put up my email address and also my Cash App information in case anybody wants to support the channel. Email me about the case and I'll look into it. Okay, I promise. With that being said, I'm gonna get off of here. Y'all got some things to do. Uh, before I go back live later. Um, I will be at Trey's live at 10:10. I don't think The Truth is going live tonight. And I'ma try. Haven't been able to do it lately because my whole mood and stuff like that. I may go live after Trey's live on my backup channel because I want to do that part two of that Shanae Murray story. I want to get that out the way because it's something else that I want to cover on my channel, and I really don't like doing part ones and not doing the part twos. Okay, it just is what it is. I'm OCD in that in a lot of ways. All right, so thank you, Lucius. Thank you, sis. It's good to see you. It's really, really good to see you. And I see you putting out content on your channel. Whenever I see an upload, I promise to share it out. I love you. And I am continuously praying for you and your family, sweetie. So with that being said, I'm gonna get off of here. Y'all please be safe. Be safe, be blessed, never stressed. Continue to pray for our super family. Pray for each other. Throw a little prayer my way, and I would definitely pray for you and yours. Okay, it's the holiday season, tough time for a lot of people. Um, I do whatever I can to help y'all get through because y'all helped me get through just coming on live. And with that being said, listen, I'm gonna get out of here, but I'm gonna play this tribute to Kevin Johnson and his daughter, and then I'll see y'all later on. I love y'all so much. Thank you for supporting me in this positive commentary. And the reason why I say that is for people that choose to support the negative. You know, sometimes it's okay to support the positive as well. You feel me? So, with that being said, I love y'all. Y'all have a blessed, beautiful night, and I'm sure I will see y'all later in these streets. Okay?